If you look off into the distance, you can see that Ben Johnson is still going for it on fourth down, and CJ Stroud is still throwing back-breaking interceptions. Welcome back to No Huddle, everyone, and welcome to the second to last predictions video of the entire season. It's time for the AFC and NFC championship games. Championship weekends, one of my favorite weekends in the entire NFL, and I think everyone can agree. Now, for any Cowboys fans that may not know what the conference championship games are because they're so young, the conference championship games are basically the final step between your team and the ultimate prize, which is the Super Bowl. And in other words, it's basically the third round of the NFL playoffs, and it happens once you win the divisional round. Now, to any Jets fans who may not know what the NFL playoffs are, the playoffs are basically bonus games that you get to play after the regular season, and you basically achieve them by winning more around double-digit games in the regular season. Now, to any Browns fans who may not know what winning games is, winning a game in the NFL basically happens when the time expires, the fourth quarter ends, and you end up scoring more points than the other team. It is actually something that you can accomplish in the NFL. Now, to any Raiders fans who may not know what scoring points is, I'm at 176 and 106. Hopefully, we can finish these last three games on a high note with my predictions. But again, the nerves are starting to pile up. It's the final four of the NFL. Who will make the trip to San Francisco and who's going to go to Cancun? Let's just get started. Starting with the afternoon game at 3:30 Eastern Time, we've got the Patriots traveling to Mile High to visit the Denver Broncos. The Patriots are coming off of a divisional round dominant defensive win against the Texans. Meanwhile, the Broncos are coming off of an improbable overtime win against the Buffalo Bills. These two teams do have history in the playoffs, most notably in decades past. In 2005, the Broncos prevailed in Mile High. They also prevailed in 2013. And then the last time that they played was in 2015 when Peyton Manning and Tom Brady faced off for the last time, and they won in the AFC Championship game. The Patriots do not have a great history in the playoffs when it comes to playing in Denver. And Jesus Christ, I can't believe we've gone from Brady versus Manning to now Drake May versus Jarrett Stidham. But hey, it could still be a fun game. So who's going to win this game? I mean, the Patriots are definitely going to be the favorites. And while I do kind of want to pick Jarrett Stidham because of how crazy this season has been, honestly, I wouldn't be as surprised if Denver wins. But I'm going to go with the safe choice, and I'm taking the Patriots to win. There are actually some variables when it comes to the Denver Broncos being able to win. And that's because the Patriots, their offensive line has been pretty weak. Drake May has been sacked a total of 5 times in each of the games. That's 10 sacks in 2 games. And Denver, obviously, their biggest strength is the pass rush. You obviously look at years past when Von Miller used to bully Brady. Now Nick Bonito's going to have to do the same thing. Him or other guys in that Denver pass rush are going to have to bully Drake May, throw him off his game, and just hope that he ends up turning the ball over or starts fumbling more, because that is a problem that May has been dealing with this entire season. The Patriots do have to rely on some of the running game, whether it's Ramondre or Travion Henderson, because we saw that at the end of the Texans game, the Patriots were able to tire out the defense and they were able to run out a lot of the clock. I think controlling the time possession is going to be important for the Patriots. Now, I think one problem that they will face is the receivers, because I don't think that Keyshawn Boutte or Demario Douglas or Diggs are going to be as good when it comes to being locked up by Patrick Surtain or Riley Moss. But I did say that when it came to the Texans game, and Drake May was still able to unload a couple of deep bombs or some really good throws for touchdowns or for huge conversions. So I do think that the Patriots will have some sort of success when it comes to that. But even still, it doesn't really matter if the Broncos defense force the Patriots into not many points. Jarrett Stidham is still the starting quarterback, and this isn't like a Nick Foles type thing. Nick Foles was a little bit competent before he came into the Eagles in 2017. Mind you, Jarrett Stidham hasn't played a snap of regular season football since 2023. Kadarius Toney was still on the Kansas City Chiefs when the last time Jarrett Stidham played a snap. I don't know how good the Broncos receivers are going to be. They're not like the Eagles supporting cast of receivers who can make great plays apart from drawing pass interference calls. One thing that is going for them is the fact that J.K. Dobbins is coming back. This is a great time for him. They're going to have to run the football a lot. Hopefully they can use some play action after, and then maybe Denver can make their passing game a little bit easier. But even still, like the offense is just not going to be clicking because Jarrett Stidham, again, he's not like a quality backup. He's not a Mac Jones. He's not a Malik Willis. He's Jarrett Stidham, a guy who we've seen in the 4 games that he's played, he's just not very good. Another thing that we'll have to look at, which is probably the biggest matchup in the entire game, the biggest battle, is the Broncos offensive line, who has been overall pretty good at protecting Bo Nix the entire season. They're going to have to go up against Milton Williams and company, who have been arguably the best defense in the entire playoffs. The Patriots defense has popped off in these last 2 games. We look at the other 2 quarterbacks, not only did they just play horrible in terms of being inaccurate and not putting up a lot of points, they've had a combined 9 sacks, 6 sacks against Justin Herbert, 3 sacks against CJ Stroud, and a combined like 6 turnovers or even like 7 turnovers when it comes to the 2 quarterbacks. They've given QBs hell, and I think they'll give Jarrett Stidham hell. He may put up a fight, but if it becomes some sort of a shootout where they have to go band for band on drives, Drake May is easily going to win. If it becomes low scoring, maybe Denver can win, but for me, I see the Patriots advancing to the Super Bowl. My key players, similar to what I alluded to earlier, the Broncos have to make this game extremely, extremely ugly, a la 2024 Chiefs or even this year's Eagles. They have to tire out the Patriots. They have to make them uncomfortable. They have to force them into the mistakes. Cash in those mistakes, whether it's with field goals or touchdowns. Meanwhile, the Patriots, they have to keep on this great defensive form, make Jarrett Stidham uncomfortable because he is going to make mistakes. Make it so the receivers can't make a play and help him out. Make it so the running game can't help him out. Hope that J.K. Dobbins is still a little bit hobbled. Overall, I think if whoever's defense locks up the other one more is probably going to win. And based on current form and because of the Broncos' outside circumstances, I think that the Patriots will have a better time with their secondary with Christian Gonzalez and then their interior with Milton Williams. They've both been playing out of their minds in these playoffs. For the Patriots, they're looking for redemption of past years. They're looking to exorcise the demons in Mile High. And for me, it might be an easy path. The haters can cry all they want, but I think New England reclaims the Lamar Hunt Trophy and advances to San Francisco to play in Super Bowl 60. And now to the NFC title game, the evening game, what I believe is 6:30 Eastern time. We've got the Rams at the Seattle Seahawks. The Rams are coming off of an overtime thriller, if you could say, against the Chicago Bears. Meanwhile, the Seahawks put absolute belt to their division rival San Francisco 49ers in a 41-6 win. These 2 teams do not have a lot of playoff history, but they have some regular season history. They are division rivals, and these guys had some pretty tight games. In Week 11, the Rams won 21-19, and then in Week 16, one win that eventually got Seattle the number 1 seed, they won in a 38-37 thriller. Both of these teams, I think, are going to be very confident because you look at both games that they won and even in the games that they lost, both of those margins were extremely tight. 1 or 2 things go the other way, and the results are completely different. So who's going to win this game? The Rams have been squeaking by. You could argue that they're the most experienced team left in the playoffs with Sean McVay and Stafford and company. But I'm sorry, even with all the craziness of this season, I have to go with the safe pick. I have to go with the team that's been playing the better football, and that's Seattle. Seattle, in my opinion, is going to win this game. Look, the Rams, like I said, they've been squeaking by. They won by 3 against the Panthers and against the Bears. They've been an overall clutch team. They can win when the margins get tight. We've seen that in these playoffs. You can't do that against Seattle. Seattle is a walking buzzsaw. They are a team that has absolutely blown a bunch of other teams out. And if you start sloppy in the first quarter or in the first half or even in the first 3 quarters, Seattle is not going to forgive you and you'll be down by 20 before you know it. Stafford has been kind of inaccurate. That is something that you have to look at. But luckily, he has Kyren Williams who can alleviate some pressure. He played really good against the Bears, and overall, he was the big push that they needed offensively to score some points. And also, I'm not too worried about Matthew Stafford because he has had some good games against Seattle. We saw how he played in Seattle in Week 16, put up over 400 yards. For me, I'm not really worried about the Rams offense because it's still Matthew Stafford despite him playing mediocre football in the last 2 games, and it's still Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua put up 200 yards the last time he played that defense. I think both of them will still play pretty well. When we get to the other side of the football with the Seahawks offense, Zach Charbonnet did tear his ACL, if I'm correct, which means he is out for the rest of the season, which does suck because I think that two-headed monster at running back is really valuable for Seattle. But we saw last week that Kenneth Walker can work really well as a bell cow back. He's not going to be very fatigued because he hasn't had many carries this entire season. I think he'll get a couple of touchdowns. And overall, I think Seattle does have a bit of the advantage because you have JSN and Rashid Shaheed and other guys at the receiving position versus a Rams secondary that has been, let's just say, kind of sloppy. We saw what Caleb Williams was able to do to them. We saw what Bryce Young was able to do to them. Like, I think this Rams secondary is very, very gettable. But now let's get to the elephant in the room. Obviously, the biggest X factor in this entire matchup, Sam Darnold. His history with the Rams dates back to last year, in which the Rams made him look absolutely stupid. He got pressured all day long. He looked terrible, and the Rams were able to dominate because Sam Darnold couldn't overcome it. And overall, Sam Darnold hasn't been as great in these two games against the Rams, even though he put up 38 points in one of those games. He has a combined 2 touchdowns with 6 interceptions. That's personally really ugly. But I'm not going to lie, he's been playing pretty good. And again, this team is just built so that Sam Darnold doesn't have to win the game by himself. He doesn't have to put up 40 points because you have some special teamers that can put up points. You have Kenneth Walker who can help you out. I think if Sam Darnold just makes the right plays like he did against San Francisco, hopefully doesn't get hurt because I think that oblique is still a problem. If he just does what he needs to do and doesn't play any hero ball, which he already doesn't do, I think Seattle can win with him playing complimentary football, just like he has been the entire season. But if the Rams get some pressure on him, then he might turn into a pumpkin again. This is going to be a great game, in my opinion, a battle of two coaches. We'll see if the offensive genius of McVay or the defensive genius of McDonald is going to prevail. I just think that Seattle has been playing better, and I think they'll ride that momentum with the home crowd as well, and I think Seattle advances to the Super Bowl for what I believe is the 4th time in their franchise history. Key players. It's the defense for both aspects because Stafford was able to play really well in the second game, but in the first game, he was a little bit sloppy. Seattle has to force that form again. They have to hold Devontae Adams. They have to hold Puka Nacua to lesser production to what they have. They have to bottle Kyren Williams, and then they have to hope that Matthew Stafford still is in his slump and just somehow becomes less and less accurate as the games go by. Meanwhile, for the Rams, that duo of Byron Young and Jared Verse, like I said earlier, they were able to absolutely torture Sam Darnold last year. If they replicate even half of that, then their chances of winning goes up by 100%. It's crazy. Which defense will prevail? Personally, the one that has been playing better over the course of the season will play better for me, and that's Seattle. So that concludes my predictions. In my opinion, there will be a Seattle versus New England Super Bowl. Personally, I'll probably be rooting for Seattle this time around instead of the Patriots. But for Seattle's sake, if this is the Super Bowl matchup, I hope they actually hand it off to Kenneth Walker because otherwise there's going to be a lot of self-harm in Seattle. But that is the end for my predictions. I hope we get 2 great games. The divisional round was a little bit underwhelming, so hopefully this weekend lives up to the hype. But if you guys enjoyed this, please subscribe and please like, as any support is truly appreciated. And I'll see you guys next week when we finally have our Super Bowl matchup.